Ringo looking towards Agar. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello and welcome again to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and the transfer silly season is still going. So we've got some transfer rumours to round up. We have a signing to confirm, the worst kept secret in the possibly club's history. Confirmed on Tuesday. Cameron Humphreys. We've got a couple of rumours to come in, and we'll cover what we can from the friendly that happened on Thursday evening. Although there's not much we can cover because we didn't see it. Is a slight issue, but we'll cover what we can. We have Mick there in the top corner of the screen. Hello, Michael. How's it going?
All good. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Is it too hot for you yet, or are you just about?
Never too hot for me, mate. I'm all for this sort of weather. Love it. Can't get enough of it.
Okay. People will be disappointed to know that had we recorded this 2 days ago, you would have probably been in a car park in Wales, wouldn't you?
Possibly, yeah. It would have been South Wales rather than North Wales, though. So
that would have been the first appearance of the year.
Hey, listen, you never know what this weekend will bring, dear.
Very true. Danny's with us. Danny's back in his normal location without any Wednesday fans this time?
No, unless there's one I do under the table, I don't think so. Just me tonight.
Okay. We've got the picture. We should check out Grace. Grace says, nice pictures. We've got the Bamba Alissa, the Johnny Pillow in my for me, the Victor picture for Mick. Danny, where's your picture?
Mine is in the room at the minute, waiting to be put in a frame.
Let you off. But you have got the trophy behind us. Do you want to quick mention the trophy for the charity game, which is next Saturday?
Yeah, July 16th at, what's it called now? That's bad, I forgot the name of it. Flash Lane, that's the one. Flash Lane. Flash Lane in Bramley. Get yourselves down, we're going to have all sorts on. We've got raffle, hopefully food and drink and such. No alcohol, unfortunately, because we can't get a licence for it. And if we do serve alcohol, we'll get in big trouble with the council, so we're not risking it.
Can you bring your own alcohol?
All I know is that we're not allowed to sell it. That is what we've been told. We are not allowed to sell it. But yeah, get your sends down. It's for our charity game, raising money for Rotherham Hospice. We've raised a fair bit of money so far just on the raffle. So again, big shout out to my mate Carly Butler, who I think raised 50 quid in raffle tickets at the Parkgate game. So fair play. And Reece, you still have catching up to do, mate. Come on. But yeah, so this is the trophy that we will be playing for on the day. We have called it the Rotherham Hospice Charity Cup because it's for Rotherham Hospice. They're a charity and it's a cup. There you go.
Very
now,
imaginative.
exactly. And we have got red and white ribbon on it now for both teams. And yeah, the winner will get that. And I think the hospice will be keeping it after we've finished. So if we want to use it in future, we can do.
Beautiful. Like it. Get down if you can, everybody.
For anybody who's not going to Mansfield, come to us.
Oh yeah, Mansfield. Yeah. Stephen Adams is in Wales, Northwest Dar, he says. Mick will know what that means. YouTube users with us. Fireman UK, Harvey Cowick. Andy Hunt from sunny Algarve. Ooh, well, it's all right for some, innit? Must be nice. Will Roebuck says, we're going up, aren't we? Nothing like getting carried away in pre-season, is there? You know what I mean? It's just it's one of the best things about pre-season. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Nothing's gone wrong yet. All the signs are exciting. It's just great this time of year.
I thought it was supposed to be me that's always negative about stuff. You, nothing's gone wrong yet. Well, hopefully we've come out without any injuries. That's the main thing. But yeah, it's looking good. Things are looking good. I like the way things are progressing. You can't take a lot from friendlies, can you, in terms of results and everything else? But the way things are progressing off the pitch, happy days. Happy days. It's excellent.
Yeah. Andy Hunt says, what was the score against Fleetwood, please? That was a 2-0 victory. And you know who scored because Georgie Kelly plays, which means Georgie Kelly scored. That's how it works. He's not putting much pressure on himself, is he, Danny? I know his job is to score goals, but he's just getting silly now.
Yeah, he's definitely beating Mitrovic's record last season, isn't he? What did he end up getting? About 47, something like that, something daft. But yeah, George Kelly, 60-goal season. I'm telling you, he scored 4 goals in 3 Rotherham games. And I think he's only played 100 minutes, and that's about it.
He'll have barely played 90 minutes, will he?
No, I mean, the game today was only 70 minutes, which you can understand because they have been running to the floor over this week, and a few players weren't risked because they've been running into the floor. But yeah, Kelly played the full 70. I believe his first goal was a goalmouth scramble that Washington set up, I think. And then the second one was a penalty that Kyoso won running down the right-hand side. So it's good to know that both Chio and Kyoso can win penalties through darting runs on the right. That is brilliant to hear. But yeah, I'm telling you, I hope Kelly doesn't have a goal-scoring clause in his contract. He'll be a millionaire by end of the season.
Yeah. Harvey Kelly also points out it's right, no injuries. McCart pulled his quad. Adolphins apparently took a knock to the face in the friendly today, according to the report on the website. Well, that's just a knock in the face. It'll be fine. Like Danny says, there was people not risked. I'll give the people the line in case they're not seen on the website. The lineup was Johansson in goal. This is started with Wood, Adolphin, and Harding, and Kyoso, Barlas at Lindsay, Rathbone, Bowler, Kelly, and Washington, who's front 2. Humphreys did come on as a sub. Bramwell came on as a sub at Hull. We don't have any minutes exactly whatever he's played because it's behind closed doors. But that's sort of the information we have as it is. I'll start from the back, Mick. We talked about this the other day. Johansson started again. Johansson didn't come off. We know because he's infiltrating. Well, it looks like he's infiltrating because we put it out. Is that a sign, do you think, or is it just early days?
Who knows? You don't know, can you? You don't know. Victor's got the shirt. He got the shirt back in the last season, and he's got to lose it. I would guess will be the argument. So it's possible Josh Vickers might have a long wait. You never know. Because we've no pizza cup to blood any players in. Although I guess the equivalent is now the League Cup or whatever it is, isn't it? For as far as we're concerned, where you tend to get those second string players playing. I can't speak tonight. I don't know what's the matter with me. I don't please some people. Yeah, I mean, just on that with Jamie McCart pulling his quad, that's kind of an initiation process for other players. I seem to remember this time last year, we had a bit of a Twitter meltdown about players pulling quads.
We did both keepers pulled them, didn't they? Victor and Vickers both pulled the quads.
Yeah, it was training methods and pour this and pour that and pour the other. So, Jamie McCart, welcome to Rotherham. Here's your quad injury. Here's your pre-season quad injury. You're welcome.
It's part of the initiation into a sing-song and a quad injury.
Yeah.
Still no Eves, but again, I think he's obviously there. He's been running, so I assume he's just been rested. Because that's all it is, Danny. It's minutes under the belts. Ben Bull might be saying this. It doesn't matter about result. It's minutes under the belt and don't get injured. That's it. That's the name of the game at this stage.
Yeah, basically, and I think McCart's only out for 2 or 3 weeks with his quad injury, and I think it's just the change in intensity. In all honesty, but I'm not worried. To be fair, he'll miss two pre-season games, Salford and Harrogate.
Probably, yeah.
So I'm hoping he scores a brace against Donny to make up for it. But yeah, like I say, aim of the game, get minutes under your belt, get your fitness back, and that's what we're cracking on with. And I think as well, this camp allows them to bond as well, because if you've listened to Woody's interview, they've got inflatables out on the ocean in the little complex they're at, and they all go out on the inflatables, which is hilarious. And he says the coaches have got no balance at all. All players go up and they're fine and having a laugh. Coaches go up, it's like watching baby elephants.
Yeah, it's been good listening from the background stuff. I would say the content the club have put out this week has been possibly the best stuff the club have ever put out. It's been so good behind the scenes stuff. It's interesting to make the way Warney sets them up in terms of what they've got to do. It makes them do the thing that I hate, where you've got to sit next to somebody new every night at dinner. I would hate that. It would really frustrate. But again, it's good because these are guys that are going to work together. They're not just, got to sit at an office desk and never speak to you. They've literally got to play together. So that kind of team building and getting behind the scenes action has been amazing for me.
Listen, it's huge congratulations to Sam Todd, because the work he's done this week has been absolutely top draw. Really has. I don't ever remember this sort of output coming from the club at any stage. And I don't know whether there's an argument to say that it's not the right thing to do. I can't think of one personally. I just find it fantastic, and it allows it creates that bond again. It strengthens that bond between supporters and players, supporters and club, which is what it's all about. And particularly bearing in mind some of the difficult times we've had over the last couple of years. That relationship has been strained at times because of the behaviour of some people, so it's good that the club are really reaching out and just entertaining us. It's fantastic. Without any football, and that the Barlesser Ogbeni interview is just, it's just brilliant. I love it. It's fantastic. You feel as though you get to know these players. Obviously you don't, but you know what I mean. You get to
know the personality a bit, don't you?
Yeah, and that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, and that's the good one we knew. We're Connor Washington, Danny. They only 5-6 minute interview, but you already get a sense of Connor Washington and his personality. And I enjoyed the bit where he told Woody that he was going to run his hamstrings off when he played against Charlton last season, and that's the type of guy that I want on our team. Oh, Danny, you're on mute.
Apologies. Yeah, it just goes to show that we are signing the right sort of people and that they all get on with each other. And Washington's got that bit of banter with Woody because he said that whilst he was still a Charlton player and now he's here. So I think Woody's aim is to try and run his hamstrings off now. But yeah, it just goes to show they are getting on really well with each other. I know Washington's been here a bit longer than the most recent ones. But they are starting to bond really well, which is great to see. And if we can get 2 goals out of 70 minutes with the Washington-Kelly partnership, that'll be tasty next year, won't it?
Yeah, it would. Actually, it has been great content from the club this week, with one minor mistake. Which brings us on to the first signing of the week. Carl Scott says Toddy's best bit was leaking Humphreys by accident. So if anybody, we signed Cameron Humphreys on a free transfer from a Belgian team. That's as much as you're getting from me about the team. Dan, Mick, I'll come to you first on this one. He has excellent pedigree, very, very, very good pedigree. But, and it's a big but, it's 2 for me. Number 1, he's been playing in Belgium, and I don't really know the standard. The standard's clearly not awful, but George Hurst went to Belgium and did okay, not amazing. And look what he did in the Championship. And I've never seen him play. So I'm not as excited as other people, but it could potentially be an amazing signing, but it could also be George Hurst.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we don't know a lot about Belgium. They are ranked number 2 in world. Just saying. I know they've not won anything. And I know that.
How would they even play in Belgium?
The vast majority of their players do play abroad as well, so I accept that. And the standard there is probably not good. It's certainly not going to be Premier League standard. But there are some good sides there, and this is a signing that came out of blue for me. I'd not heard anything about it at all. You look at this lad's pedigree and look at the clubs that have been in for him. Look at the clubs he's chosen us over. You're talking Sheffield United's Bournemouth, Premier League Bournemouth. Stoke City have been looking at him, and he's chosen to come to little old teams like Rotherham. Good man. You know, he's obviously got some pedigree. He's come through Manchester City Academy. He's been on bench in a Champions League match for Man City. I think that probably tells you as much as you need to know as far as the Rotherham United support is concerned about the calibre of player that we've just signed there. For me, I've never seen him play, obviously. So, you know, it's all caveated, as you said right at the beginning there, but it's a hell of a signing for me. Hell of a signing.
Yeah, we put some bits together as we always do with a breakdown. They signed from Zulta Wargem. Don't know.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that. He signed a 3-year contract, Danny, which in itself is quite interesting. There's no 2-year contracts. That 3-year could have an extension in it. The club won't announce it at this stage, so it's at least a 3-year contract, which is a good sign. 23-year-old. I mean, that's what you want, isn't it? 3-year contract, 23-year-old. That's perfect for the club.
Yeah, I think the only one who's got a 2-year is Washington, but he's seemed to have made that little trend with clubs he plays for. But yeah, all the rest have been 3-year contracts, so we're definitely stepping up with the whole thing of tying players down with contracts. And like you said, we could have extensions in there as well. It's great to see because it shows that we're recruiting right. We're properly whittling down the list, seeing which players we can get, and then offering them fairly long-term deals, which is great to see. We haven't explored the loan market yet either, so we've just been tying players down, and yeah, it's great to see. And like Mick said, he comes with a fantastic pedigree. He's been under the guidance of Pellegrini and Guardiola at City, and then gone off on his own track into Belgium and Holland as well. And then he's come to us, and yeah, I mean, we've beaten Rangers to a signing. That's exceptional.
Really?
How have we managed that? But yeah, I am actually really excited to see Humphreys in action when they're back on English soil, because he sounds like a real, not, I mean, you'll have Woody as like your old-fashioned centre-half sort of thing. But Humphreys sounds like your more modern centre-half. You know, he's good on the ball, he's good in the air, he likes to push forward, he's not defending all the time, he likes to move forward with the ball. It sounds like it's a huge upgrade on Ekwe, to be honest, a massive upgrade on him.
It sounds like it, doesn't it? Which is crazy.
Yeah, and I saw some stats on Twitter, and it said something daft like he's got an 80% passing accuracy and a 70%. What was the 70% one?
Headed duels or something like that.
That were it, yeah. Aerial duels, 70%. They're insane stats.
Yeah, they are.
But we don't watch Belgian football. We haven't seen him in action. We don't really know his game. Warney knows his game. But he sounds fantastic, and I think on Transfermarkt they've got him listed as about 600k. So I'm glad we've got him on a free.
Yeah. No, it's interesting.
Sorry, Matt. It sounds almost. I might get shot for saying this. It almost sounds like an upgrade on Reg from his stats on paper.
Yeah.
Well, we could come on to that in a bit.
Yes, we can. Yeah, we don't have any stats to compare with. Like I said, Danny, his stats are very impressive. We don't have any League One stats to compare Icky with, compare Reg with. You know, passing stats and things like that. They don't seem to do them in League One, but they do them in the Belgium top flight. Don't know. We have reached out to a Belgium football specialist football podcast, but we haven't had anything back yet. So, if we get anything from them, brilliant. If not, we'll just watch them with our own eyes, and then we can go from there. Yeah, it's exciting. It might turn up to be a total flop, but it is pretty exciting. And you wonder, Mick, if the fact that we have had something like Icky, and I know he's only gone to Sheffield Wednesday, but he's improved massively while he's been at the club. Semi-Ajay, Will Volks. You've got to assume that these type of things are an advertisement to the club, to the player. One, it can say, look what we've done to Semi. He's going to a Premier League player. Will Volks, I think they got it playoffs or narrowly missed out on playoffs in his first year. We can make you a better player. I'm speaking as Paul Warner, and you can go on and do bigger and better things with or without us. Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're aiming for, isn't it? And not only are we aiming for it, we're achieving it.
Yeah.
We're achieving it on a regular basis. You know, there's very few players, with the exception of Hursti at the moment, who've left this club a worse player than when they started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a massive selling point. And people are starting to sit up and take notice, aren't they? You know, some of these clubs are starting to sit up and take notice, and we're getting offers for players that, you know, we'd never have had before. So it's excellent. It's excellent work. Really, really impressive from club. Really impressive.
Yeah, it does. We'll come on to offers in a minute. Brian Vernon said that to beat other teams mentioned for Humphreys speaks volumes of how our club is being run. Actions speak louder than work. And to be fair, Danny, if it's all right saying, we beat Rangers because we're a good club to progress players, we must have been competing financially as well, which is almost as important. I'm not obviously with Rangers can offer more money than us, but we must have been somewhere near what they were willing to offer, which again is crazy. It's unheard of in recent times.
Yeah, I think, like you say, we've probably been competing a little bit financially with them because they'll know what they want to offer certain players. But I think the bigger thing around it is Paul Warne's probably got some pulling power now with the whole thing of developing players, because we have got a fairly long list of players that have come to us more or less being unknowns, and then they've turned into internationals. Your current example is Ogbenny. He came from someone who wasn't really in the Brentford fold, only made a handful of appearances for Exeter, come to us and absolutely exploded onto the scene. And you've got some Irish fans calling him Ireland's best ever winger. Then you've got Will Vaulks. I mean, he's took a step backwards currently, but when he came to we made him into an international. It came again, another one who's had a step backwards, but little loan out to Accrington, and then East Town Wheels, we improved him massively. So we are getting a little bit of a rep for doing that. And so a player of Humphreys' age who probably wants to come and step back into English football, but still wants to get better and develop, you'd be silly not to choose Rotherham because he's seen the track record and he's probably thought probably a better option. Why go to Sheffield United, for example, who have the objective of going up this season, where he might not play as many games but might be on more money, or you play more games with Rotherham and further your career as your development? We'd be silly not to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not like we're paying him 30 quid a week, is it? It's going to be still going to be decent money. Yeah. Message from Jordan Conker says nothing beats watching us with COVID and a chip butty. Joe looks class behind Danny. That's next Saturday. Danny, you're suffering as well, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah. Feeling a bit better though. Should be okay by Saturday. I think I'm going to test later and see where we are.
Well, like it. Danny Gunn asks, any more news on the Moment of Truth podcast and when it's out? Absolutely not. Everything has gone deathly silent on the Moment of Truth podcast. Very strange. I don't know if some things happened, whether somebody's re-listened to it and there's something that shouldn't have been in there that they wanted to put in there, or whether they've pulled it completely. Very, very, very strange. Any of you two got anything to add on the strangeness of that appearing to be pulled?
It's really peculiar, isn't it? Because there's nothing whatsoever been said. If you would have thought that if there were some editorial issues that might have been just said, it's going to be delayed, it'll be out such a time or whatever. But it seems to have essentially just dropped off the face of the earth. So who knows? Who knows? I'm sure we'll find out ultimately. We'll see.
I won't bet on it. Yeah, I won't bet on it. But there we go. We've got 2 or 3 transfer rumours out to cover. So let's start with the derisory one, because everybody's praying for a Mick rant. Paramount UK says, I think Mick is hiding his anger on the 1 million bid on Dan Barlasser. And this originally come from Paul Warne, who confirmed to the club's website that there had been bids for Wiles, which we'll come on to, and somebody had come in for Dan Barlasser. Danny might have more information who is it from in a minute, but Mick, how much of Dan Barlasser would you get for £1 million? Because it's not all of him.
You might get one of the laces out of one of these boots if you ask him nicely. I mean, I'm not angry about it. I never even got as far as being angry. I couldn't stop laughing, to be honest with you. It's just embarrassing. And there's no wonder they've not been named. I mean, they're probably skulking away in a corner somewhere thinking, I wish we'd not done that. But maybe it's a Yorkshire club, and just trying to be tight or whatever. But nah, just embarrassing.
Yes, yeah, and as Will Roberts put on here, we've got a 40% sell-on fee, or rumoured around 40%, somewhere between 40 and 50. That's the rumour. So if it goes for £1 million, Danny, we're getting 500k. not worth it to us. It's just, I don't know whether someone's just testing the water or what, but it is a stupid bid. They're clearly not going to accept that.
One thing we have to bear in mind is that Barlaser does have a release clause in his contract. I'm not sure of the value, but it's not as high as people think it is, from what I've been told. But a release clause isn't really a game set and match to you signing somebody. It's just that you've just triggered the release clause and you can offer him something. But yeah, I think Barlaser needs to go for at least a couple million just for us to get a fair return on his sell-on fee. But the thing to remember is that Barlaser has already said he's not going anywhere this year. He is committed to this year. Chio has said the same as well. He's committed to this year. And I think it is because they can see something special happening now. They can see, especially now that the recruitment's happened, they can see what's beginning to blossom here. And they want to give the championship another go. And I think if they give the championship another go and we do get relegated, then they will go, I think. But I honestly think if we stay up this season, they might pen another deal because they're like, right, we can just keep pushing on now. But yeah, Dan has already said that he is committed to this year and he's not going anywhere. And we can hold him to account on that. We can say, well, you said you weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Listen, Danny, if somebody comes in with 2 million, we'll still be laughing.
Yeah.
That's just as derisory. So we're not little old Rotherham United anymore. So, and if you think we are, then you may need to go somewhere else and start looking. Get yourself off down to Swilsborough because they'll be taking offers.
I know. I'm asking you to put a number on it, Mick. I'm sure this is going to be a really stupid number. What is Dan Barlaser worth?
To us, it's worth as much as Chio, as much as Ben Wiles. So if you want to go down that route, for me, Ben Wiles shouldn't be going anywhere for less than £4 million because he's as good a player as Scott Twine, and that's what Burnley have paid for him. Likewise with Chio, and likewise with Dan Barlaser. They're worth that money every day of every week in this the way that the transfer market is. So, that's it. If you want them, that's absolutely fine. Get your hand in your pocket and give them and us a good deal.
Yeah, it's also worth pointing out, Dan, we get told a lot, or I've been told a lot by other fans. There's no football, there's no money in Championship football at the minute, or not particularly because COVID's still having a lasting impact. Clubs aren't going to pay, unless the parachute payment clubs, they're not going to pay £4 million for players. That's changing. Well, you look at Hull. Hull is selling one of their young players, rumoured for 20 million from Brentford. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So that's £20 million coming into Championship. Swansea are selling one of their players for £12 million to West Ham. So the money's starting to come into the Championship, and that's going to filter down. Swansea are going to buy somebody else. Hull. So there is going to be money swirling around in the Championship this season, contrary to popular belief. So we can and should be holding out because that money is going to. It's our turn for some cash, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But just to put a figure on Barlaser going, like Mick says, same that Burnley paid for Scott Twine, plus an extra million to take Allison off the RUFC hashtag as well.
Good point, Danny. Good point. Yes, yeah.
And for Wiles as well. Brentford, Burnley have paid £5 million for Twine, £5 million on Wiles, easy peasy. Same with Chio. That's right. Pay dividends for us potentially getting relegated. Then you can have him, which is roughly about £6 million, I think it is. They are the fees put on their heads. If you don't want to pay it, unlucky.
Yeah, it was interesting, Mick, that Warney came out and put a figure on for a moment. Wiles has been linked with Burnley. Paul Warne came out and said they've offered it. I think he said more than 2 million. I think his words were a bit more than 2 million, and that's not enough. Well, that's the first time in the club's history that anybody has ever suggested that £2 million is not enough. And it shows how important Wilesy is to us, and it shows it's a massive hats off to the youth academy, the youth system, bringing that player through for nothing, obviously potentially getting some fee for him. But actually, you mentioned earlier, we're not being bullied anymore. It's time for Rotherham to be paid what he justly has.
It's a statement of intent, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's what it is. it might all go belly up and we might end up back in League One. That's a possibility. Could happen, but then that could happen to anybody in this division. So the way that this club are working at the moment and the way that they're recruiting, they're doing everything they possibly can to make that not happen. But we're creating players. We're creating players who are going to have a future at a higher level than we're offering them at the moment. So, and they are good enough. They're good enough now, these players that we've talked about. So if you want them, that's fine. Dig your hand in your pocket and pay. Otherwise, do one. And it's great. It's great that the club are going, nah, stuff you. Take a hike.
Yeah.
Love it.
It is. But imagine what Paul Warne could do with £4 million. Well, it's 6 million quid from two of them being sold. I know they'd be key players, but imagine what we could bring in for that. Let's play the other side of the coin down. Let's say we tell them, but sell, hypothetical. Let's say Wiles and Wiles, they go for 6 million combined. That's exciting that Paul Warne could have that kind of money available.
Yeah, it is, and we've very rarely had that sort of money available purely from, from transfers. Because I believe the fee that was offered for Wiles would have made him our biggest transfer fee received, and we've turned it down.
Yeah,
that's a madness. Because I think Volks went for about 2.2 mil, something like that.
Just over 2 on it, yeah.
Yeah, and we've now turned that down for Wiles. That's incredible. I never thought I'd see the day. But hypothetically, if we do lose Barlasser and Wiles and we've got 6 mil to play with, one should be wringing his hands together. Because he could, in theory, cherry pick probably the best from League One and maybe a couple mid-table League Two, mid-table Championship clubs for midfielders and engineer a surviving squad in the Championship, which would be great to see. However, if we keep hold of them, we've probably got a surviving Championship squad as it stands, plus another few, I think.
Yeah.
There's going to be some more incomings, isn't there? There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Once we start getting into loan market.
Yeah, it does absolutely. Right, we're going to have a quick word from Manscaped because we haven't heard from them for about a week. And then we'll come back and probably cover a bit more transfer rumours of those three. And then we've got an incoming rumour to cover as well. We'll see you more.
Manscaped, who very kindly decided to sponsor us. They're promoting their new product, the Lawnmower 4.0, which is kind of well known for reducing cuts and making it a lot easier to trim your balls. You can buy this separately or in a bundle called the Performance Package, which in that you get a ball toner, and ball deodorant, which are actually very handy because they're specifically designed for your balls, so they work very well. I highly recommend all of this. The lawnmower, it comes with a little light. Comes with a little light there that comes on when you turn the razor on. So it's very good. It comes with a little charging port, which is also a little holder. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I use it, and I highly recommend it.
You highly recommend it, Ben. You highly recommend that somebody goes to manscaped.com and enters the code NYT for free shipping and 20% off. So that's manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping using the code NYT. And Ben highly recommends it.
We've not had advert in a while. Enjoyed it.
Not how bad that were.
Yeah. Danny Gunn also says on here, it also shows what a great position we are in the club that we can turn down money for them. Don't get me wrong, the money's a lot to us, but it shows we have assets. It shows the assets we have. Yeah, and it shows the power that Tony Stewart has, that it can just say, no, we don't need that cash. We can get through the season, not sell anybody. Yeah. I don't know what to say else to be honest with you, Mick, but
no,
it's
professional,
exciting.
isn't it? It's professional. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought we're a professional outfit? Well, there you go. Just shows that we are.
Yeah, I think about this earlier. We talked about it with Sedgy and Neil Richardson in previous podcasts about how the club's changed. I can only imagine Paul Warne's been here since then. Paul Warne joined in the 90s, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's been with the club throughout the whole time. I can only imagine how much the club's changed on and off the field since then.
But he's been the catalyst for that change, the major part of that change. even prior to Paul Warne coming in, with Steve Evans and his shotgun approach to loan market. It's just changed again. It's changed completely, and now it is a professionally run professional football club to be proud of.
That's the word, isn't it? It's professional.
I've used it too many times there, but
Well, it's valid, though, isn't it? For me, Danny, that's the right word. It's like a proper club.
Yeah. And I mean, to have the sort of turnaround since what happened in 08 to now, which is under 15 years, is incredible. We've gone from having to move out of Millmore, playing Sheffield for a bit, and then having a new stadium, now to being one of the best financially run clubs in Britain and quite possibly Europe. The ones up the road are the worst, just putting it out there. But yeah, it's great. It's just great to have such a stable football club that will be here for at least, and this is barring any absolute catastrophe, absolute disaster that could happen. This club will be here at least in the next 20 years, maybe even the next 100 years if we carry on with this business model we've got. And it's just a great time to be a Rotherham fan. It's probably not in terms of league positioning and such, but behind the scenes and recruiting players and being a well-organised machine, it's probably the most prolific years in the club's history, and we're part of it, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I think the potential of the club's never been greater. Never, ever been as great as it is now. And
just to touch on that with the recruiting of players, anyone who's tried to read Rob Scott's interview with The Mirror, he says that at the start of every season he has a list of over 100 players for one position.
Yeah.
Right, and then whittles it down till he gets to about 20, and that's when he goes and discusses it with Warney, and then they whittle it down to like your top 5, and then they're the 5 that you go for. And to have that sort of business model shows how in depth and how good at his job Rob Scott is, really. So he is as important to this football club as Warney is, and Warney's part of the DNA of this club now.
Yeah. I can only imagine that he'll have done that, go down to 20, gone to Paul Warne, and Warne said, actually, I've seen this other guy. And then just
to be a fly on the wall during those meetings. Oh.
Yeah. But again, Paul Warne's talked about it before, that it's important to have those relationships with somebody that him and Rob Scott are clearly, they know each other well enough to probably have those arguments. It doesn't really matter that you've had arguments, because you still respect each other enough. You've got to have that relationship. You can't have people that are, I can't think of the right word, but oversensitive in terms of criticism. You've got to be able to take the criticism, have the arguments, and move on. And they clearly can.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're very successful at it. Well, they certainly have been over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. We've praised club a lot tonight. What's all that about?
Yeah.
We should get Ben in. But get Ben in next time. Let's chuck some random nonsense criticism.
Yeah.
Right. Next linkage in players is Wimbledon's formerly of Wimbledon, Anthony Hartigan, who has been linked with us today, basically. Danny, so my Twitter rumour has seen today the sort of the main day that these names come up. Obviously, like some of the club have been after it a while, but today is the first day I've seen his name linked.
I mean, I saw it linked more than anything because he said his farewell to Wimbledon, and then suddenly started getting followed by loads of Rotherham fans. It's like, hang on, something. It's got some weight to this. Hang on a minute. Then in the replies, it's like, oh, he's coming to Rotherham, this, that, and other. So it is at this stage more of a Twitter rumour more than anything, but he is probably Wimbledon's best player. Certainly for his work rate and his teamwork, which is his top rated start. I think he'd be a really good asset for the club to have. If he's a defensive midfielder, so it might be more of an option if wanted to change tactics in midfield, because I believe Barlas is playing a little bit further forward next season to get on the ball a bit more. So if he wants to drop back and be a bit more defensive, and we've got an actual defensive midfielder in there, then it'd be a real asset. He's only 22 as well, so plenty of development with him.
Yeah.
Has anybody checked his Instagram account? Make sure Baby Tuna Man's not following him.
I will check it now.
Just checking.
Yeah. Again, it's not somebody I know the name. I know he plays for Wimbledon. I can't remember him playing against us, to be honest with you. But defensive midfielder, you tend not to notice those players, and that's sort of a good thing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly right. We'll have to wait and see. I have heard good things about him. Last season, his name did crop up on social media quite a few times throughout the season with and with good reports. And you look down his the replies to the tweet that he put out saying goodbye to Wimbledon, and it's a bad word amongst them, which again can only be a good thing. They've always been a decent side, Wimbledon. They've always seemed to be a side or a club that bring through some really, really promising players. But they're not in that position at the moment where they've been able to kind of sell them on for any great value. But every time we play them, there's always a couple where you think he's a good player. I like him. I like the look of him. It seems to be one of those teams for me.
Yeah, 42 goals is stats. 42 goals.
42 goals. Oh, hello.
42 appearances, 2 goals, 7 assists for a defensive midfield, which is not bad. Like I said, it does signal a change if he comes in, Mick. You're not going to play. If you were going to play Barlasser in the same position last season, you couldn't play them both. So I think Danny's right. I think it is a signal that they're looking at Barlasser further forward. But then that creates another problem because then how are you going to fit Wiles in and Rathbone in? But then go on.
They're not going to be both here. It's the argument, or who knows? I suspect we might see a change in formation this year, or a slight change, just from the personnel that are coming in. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
You have to remember as well is that squads need to be bigger this next season as well, because we've got 5 subs as well. So the rotation will be quite high, especially on the subs bench. Yeah. So that could be another argument for it as well, because I know last season we said we need 4 strikers, 2 starting, 2 on the bench. That's what we had. Whereas this year we'll probably need 5 or 6 because of the high turnover that we'll have due to 5 subs. And as well, Barlasser can't play every game. Same with Wiles, Lindsay, Rathbone, especially Rathbone. Rathbone can't play every game because it'll be like being in Croatia every week for him. So again, just having that natural, well, not natural per se, but having that natural midfield backup for him will be a great benefit. And we just need to bulk up a little bit. The squad needs to bulk up in numbers for next season because of the 5 sub rule. I have got an update on his Instagram for you.
Oh, go on.
It's private. Shall I drop him a cheeky follow and see if he accepts?
Do it.
All right. Requested. There we go. If he accepts it, he's coming to Rotherham, because my profile picture is me with the FL trophy. So if he accepts it, he's coming to Rotherham. I'm telling you.
Yeah, hopefully he is. 22-year-old again, Danny. It's a good age. It's a really, really good age if you can get something like that in it. It's I don't know. It just feels good and pretty exciting, to be honest with you. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, it does. Same age as me, which is quite frightening. Now that we're signing footballers who are the same age as me, they were always older than me, and now it's like, oh no, no, we've hit that next phase where they're the same age as you. Oh no.
Yeah, happens to all of us.
Yeah, he's built like an athlete, and I've still got the beer gut. Oh no.
Yeah. Will Roebuck says, I wonder if it was who Warney was on the Zoom with earlier today. The club put out it was on a Zoom call. Possibly. This sounds like it may be a bit further down the line than a Zoom call, though. I might be wrong. But if everything is as it seems, that may be the case. Brian Vernon says, strikers, anything on Stockton, Rodriguez? Danny, have you heard anything on any strikers you can share with the group?
No, it's gone very quiet in terms of strikers. But one thing I will say, which is interesting, is during Morecambe's last pre-season game, Stockton was number 19, not number 9. Now, as we all know, as starting striker, you get the number 9 shirt. But if you've dropped down to the number 19, maybe you're out of favour. Maybe it's because there's a deal going on elsewhere. That's very tinfoil hat of me. But,
or 10? It were 9 or 10?
No, it were 9. And we do have number 10 spare. So,
yeah, and number 7. If he wants number 7, he can have 7.
Yeah.
Both handing out numbers, left, right, and centre. We mentioned the Chio rumour again. Chio to Swansea. The only reason the Chio rumour is now worth mentioning, I haven't seen anything pop up from this, to be honest with you. But the reason we've poo-pooed that originally was because Swansea have no money. or minimal money. If they're selling Downs Mick to West Ham for 12 million quid, they are going to have the money, which has two effects. Number one, they might think, well, we'll try somewhere else for a bit better value, they consider. Or they might just think, sod it, we've got the cash, we'll give it to them, and it may push it over the line. But they're going to have to up their bid, I think it was around $1,900,000. They're going to have to more than double it to get anywhere near, aren't they?
It was how much?
Well, that's what they were saying they were valued. That's what they valued.
Oh, it's been a funny day today. Whatever. There's no comment to make on that, is there? If that's what they think he's worth, then go look somewhere else, lads.
Cool. Thanks for helping.
You're welcome.
I think the thing we need to remember with the Chio to Swansea rumour is that it was engineered by a newspaper to click on the article. There was no linkage whatsoever until someone asked him, what do you think of Swansea City? And that's where the rumour started from. Now, Swansea's ears might have picked up to Chio after that happened. But again, it's another one. You need to cough up the money, and they'd have to be coughing up half of that fee that they'll receive for, who was going to West Ham?
Flynn Downs, something like that.
Yeah, they'd have to cough up half for it for Chio. Because we're in the position where we'll probably go the same route that we did with Michael Smith, where he's in the final year of his contract, but we'd be better keeping him and us staying up rather than selling him on and effectively going down. That sort of system. We have been in discussion with Chio to extend his contract, and I think it is a case of he'll see where we are at the end of the season. But like I said, he's committed to his last year, so
yeah, it's good that these players aren't going. I want to leave and down in tools, Mick. They are saying, I'm committed to Rotherham United. I'm not going to, I'm not going to paddy. And that's good. That shows the sign of the people that they are. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, they love it here, don't they?
Yeah,
it's quite clear. Particularly players like Chio, he's got a permanent smile on his face. He's loving life. So, and to be fair, I mean, I can't imagine that Swansea are the type of club who take the tips for players to sign from Irish newspapers either. But you never know. Yeah.
You never know. On the Ben Wiles rumour, we've already sort of covered it, but they've offered a couple of million. The Athletic are reporting that Ben Wiles is unhappy on Rotherham's position. He understands Rotherham's position, but he's unhappy because obviously he wants to go to Burnley. The company have a chase at the Championship. Very, very strange. I didn't know the Athletic's clause went into Rotherham United camp. They haven't done it in the past. But that's certainly something worth adding to the conversation. I don't believe it for a second, to be honest with you.
It's made up, that. It's just made up, isn't it? It's just absolute drivel. I mean,
don't shoot the messenger.
Well, yeah. I read it myself. Are we sure that that's even a real Twitter account? That it's Andy Jones, I think it was, wasn't it?
It's a proper article.
It's not another one of these that like that other so-called journalist set up. It's not a dodgy Twitter account, is it?
No, it's a proper Athletic article. I clicked on the link and read the article. Whether it's, I assumed it was Athletic.
See, you clicked on the link because they put in there that he's unhappy.
He's got a blue tick.
Hey.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it's clickbait, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll read you the article. It says Wiles, who made 43 appearances and 8 goals last season for Paul Ward's side, he's thought. There's a disclaimer. He's thought to be disappointed.
Oh.
He's thought to be disappointed. A transfer has yet to materialise, as he's keen to link up with company, but is respectful of the Miller's position and will remain professional and committed to the club after rising through the academy. And he goes on to say, "Well, Burnley have signed." Okay,
right.
Anything.
Right.
You're a budding journalist.
I'm sweeping in as the only student now. Whenever you put, it is understood or it is thought, it means it's complete and utter drivel, and you've just coined it. Like I could say, I understand that Rotherham are making a move for Cristiano Ronaldo because he's unhappy at Man United. Unless you hear it saying, like, Ben Wiles has told me on a phone call or on a Zoom meeting, and you've got the quote from him, it it's effectively been made up to either get a click or add weight to a rumour that's potentially on the downslide, because I believe Burnley are now looking at someone from Coventry.
O'Hare.
Yeah, O'Hare. So it's obviously between Wiles and O'Hare, but Coventry don't want to get rid of O'Hare, so they're in the exact same situation with O'Hare as they are with Wiles. And in all honesty, a lot of people have met with Ben Wiles, and we know the sort of lad that he is. And he wouldn't say to a journalist, "Oh, no. I'm not happy that the deal hasn't happened yet because I want to go and play for Vincent Kompany." He wouldn't say that to a journalist. You know what I mean?
But to play devil's advocate, his agent might.
Yeah, his agent might have. Yeah, but again, if it's not quoted as Ben Wiles saying it, I don't believe it, which is a shame because the last I spoke to at the Athletic, I forget her name, I'm sorry, but I spoke to her before the Sutton game and she was fantastic and quoted me very, very well in her article, which was a very, very good article. But again, I'm quoted in that as saying these things, but Wiles isn't quoted as saying these things, so I don't believe it. I'm sorry.
It won't be the first time an agent's gone behind Rotherham United's back this summer, though, would it? So, you know what I mean? Another bit of transfer news. It isn't really news. It's just us. It's a bit like us talking about Chio going to Swansea because they've sold somebody. Huddersfield have not sacked the manager. The mutual consent. Carlos Corberan has apparently walked away from Huddersfield, but with just over 3 weeks away from the start of the season. Bizarre, Danny. Properly bizarre because they've just missed out. They lost in the playoff final, and we're very, very unlucky to lose in the playoff final. It's very strange, but from our point of view, it potentially opens the door to Reg. And this is not us clutching at straws, but it just makes. I don't know whether does it make it better or worse. Do you think that Reg might come back?
I think it'll delay it more than anything. Because now they have to find the new manager, then he has to have a look at everybody and then decide if Reg is in his plans. But it does seem very odd that he's walked away from Huddersfield. Like you say, 3 weeks to the season, they've only just missed promotion. Maybe it's because of the parachute payments running out, so he's done that so they have a bit more money available. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a very odd one with Huddersfield. Very, very odd. I'm sure it's something we won't find out the reasons behind it with it being mutual consent. But yeah, for me with Reg, it probably pushes it back at least until they find a new manager. But fingers crossed, he looks at it, says Reg isn't in his plans, and then he sends it back to us. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I probably agree with him, Mick. What do you think?
It's great news for us, I think.
You think
it's great news? Really do. Putting Reg to one side for a minute, that it could open that up for him coming back to us either on loan or permanently. But for me, he was one of the top managers in that division, and he was starting to build something at Huddersfield. I would venture to say, I understand. I've heard. I'm led to believe that he's not been backed financially. Sorry, I'm just making that up. I just thought but yeah,
so there's a rumor popping up with them that Lewis O'Brien is leaving. Now he was their captain and main man last season. He's been heavily linked with Nottingham Forest for a lot of money. I don't know. I'm putting 2 and 2 together. This might be 6. No, it might be 6, but I think it's got something to do with the club wanting to cash in. That's my guess.
Possibly. Looking through some of the Huddersfield supporters' replies, there were quite a lot of chat on there about the board and the chairman not willing to back him. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. But from our point of view, it's great news because we've seen this happen before many, many times. And what happens to these clubs? They plummet, don't they? You've got some discontent between manager and chairman, which kind of then bleeds through into the squad. The squad are not happy. Captain's wanting to leave. It all starts to look like it's falling down around their ears, potentially. So from a Rotherham United point of view, that can only be a good thing because that's at least one club below us.
Matt Cole says Huddersfield will be the next Barnsley.
Yeah.
interesting also, and this is not it's championship related, so I'll mention it. Luton Town have spent £2 million on Carlton Morris. £2 million. Luton. It's Luton as well. It's not Stoke who throw money at wall and hope it sticks. This is a properly sensible club spending millions on Carlton Morris. I think Carlton Morris is probably a better player than he is now. But again, Danny, talk to me about there being no money in Championship.
Well, I think Luton must have done the homework with this one. I mean, Carlton Morris has been stellar for Barnsley. He was a very important cog in their near promotion season, and he was their top scorer last season in the relegation side.
Injured in a lot last year.
Yeah. So if they keep him fit, and like I said, they've obviously done the homework for him suiting their system. So they've probably just gone, right, let's have him, and then gone full bore into getting him, which is probably why they spent $2 million. But yeah, I'm telling you, we're going to be the next Luton Town, investing smartly, developing players, pushing up the league, and then hopefully we get into a position where we can splurge $2 million on a player. Because the day that happens, oh my.
I won't be able to contain myself.
I think there's been an issue. I think there might have been some chat and some discussion as to who we're going to bust Victor's eye socket this year if Carlton Morris wins. So obviously somebody somewhere has managed to get him a move back into the Championship. I'm over it, honestly.
No, you're not.
No.
I'm telling you, Victor's got eyes for Morris now that he's come back to the Championship. He's like, right, revenge time.
Yeah. Just pray that Gavin Ward's not refereeing that game.
Oh, Lord.
Jordan Concannon says, if Morris is worth 2 million, Wiles is worth 10 million. And that strengthens our hand going elsewhere. We can say to Burnley, it's Burnley not involved. Well, this guy's gone for X money. You know what I mean? That's how I see it anyway. I think we're done. Is there anything else, Danny? Anything else you want to cover, Mick? I think we're just about covered everything. I can't think of anything else Millers tenuously linked to.
Look, the one thing I can think of is that if you're free over the weekend or whenever, get yourself down to the exhibition that's at the stadium and have a look round that, because it's absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't head down because COVID. But yeah, if you've got a free weekend, free Saturday, pop down and have a look round, because it is really, really good. Really, really good. Highly recommend it.
I highly recommend it. Wow. Thinking about to get the kids down at the weekend so they can learn about Rotherham and what it's about.
Yeah, you're a good man. You're a good father.
I know.
Indoctrinate them early.
Yeah. It's also open evenings. I think it's 4-7 every evening as well. I think.
Yeah. 4-7 every evening, not open Sundays, because I made that mistake at the weekend.
Yeah, but the Women's Euros is underway. We're not going to talk about the games that's already happened, but just to shout out that New York Stadium has been used in a major tournament, and that is prime time Sunday evening. Italy against somebody. I think I'm right in saying.
I'd be interested to watch that. Because UEFA have done played an absolute blinder. I don't know whether you watched the England game yesterday. That on the halfway line, the advertising board on the halfway line advertises the venue, and then it changes to Women's Euros or whatever. Bearing in mind that it was the England game at probably one of, if not the most, well, certainly one of the most famous stadiums in the world, Old Trafford. The sign said Trafford.
Do you want to know why?
Same place.
Do you want to know why they've done that, Mick?
Do you want to
know why they've done it?
Well, it'll be York, won't it?
No, it's because they've got City's training ground as one of the stadiums, so that's going to say Manchester. But because they say, Trafford isn't technically in the city of Manchester, that's why they've called it Trafford.
It's Old Trafford.
I know, but Trafford isn't technically in the city of Manchester. And it's an absolute elite wind-up from UEFA, and I'm all for it.
I'll let it then.
Sean Green
says Hillsborough.
Yeah, Sheffield. Sean Green says Italy against France, which is a blockbuster, to be honest with you. I don't think Italy are as strong as the men's team in international football. It's still two massive names of international football. Essex or Mill City with Ball Girl there as well. It's also interesting, mate, because I think there's certain things that you've got to have in UEFA competitions as a host stadium. So I wonder if we'll be getting fancy boards. Electronic boards. I don't know. I know there's been work at the ground for the Euros. I don't know exactly what the work has been. But can you imagine Rotherham having fancy electronic boards?
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? It does. Yeah. Yeah. I know that there are one or two bits and pieces. There are a couple of prerequisites, aren't there, for you? Yeah. When you apply to get the you have your stadium used in these things such as having paint on walls and grass on your pitch, that kind of thing. So
not rusty stands.
It's not for everybody, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why Hillsborough hasn't hosted a venue. Because UEFA's been quoted as saying that Hillsborough's facilities weren't up to standard, and that's why it's not hosting. Because they were all for it, saying, because it is the biggest stadium in South Yorkshire. Like, biggest stadium in South Yorkshire, yeah. They had a look around the facilities and went, no. And that's why they chose New York Stadium instead. It's like, yes, we have good facilities. You don't. Way. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Graham Holton says, will VAR be installed? Well, VAR will be in operation throughout the whole Euros. So New York Stadium will have VAR in operation. Now, that won't continue through the season. Unfortunately, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, New York Stadium, VAR, major tournament. It's just what we do in it. So thank you all for tuning in. If you have or not already, please subscribe on YouTube. Please subscribe on iTunes if you're audio listening, Spotify. Give us a 5-star rating wherever you do. We will be back on Sunday evening. Hopefully there's been another signing. If not, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we will find something as we have done tonight. The players are back on Saturday with like Danny mentioned, the pre-season Tuesday, Wednesday. Salford and Harrogate, not in that order, I don't think, but they get Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're starting to get into the business end of pre-season. So hopefully we can start getting a bit more excited. And we'll do predictions at some point, won't we? We'll have to start doing them. We'll talk afterward and we're going to pencil those in. At some point. And keep an eye for the schedule changes not next week, the week after, because we've got the Legends Night on the Thursday when we normally record, which we're all going to, and then something or other. So in next week, there'll be a schedule change for our episodes, but we'll talk about it, won't we, Mick? Danny?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter about Ben, it matters when we're available.
Ben. We might to him, about him.
Yeah. So yeah, subscribe, thumbs up on the video, and we'll see you on Sunday. Mick, you're right. Danny, you're better very shortly.
We'll be right.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Freddie's on one-on-one. Can Freddie turn his shoot? Can Freddie go shot? Unbelievable! Apologies to the neighbours.